Hey everyone, I am back yet again, and today I have a message for you guys which is going to be a pretty powerful one, one that I kind of wish, I had had this message maybe way back in the beginning of ever, thinking about getting into different relationships. And I want to share this one with kind of an old learning and a new one, and I want you guys to think about what terms and what sort of standards you set up for yourself when selecting a partner. It's really, really super important because who you select to have in your life, particularly on an intimate level, the closer they are in your circle, the more impact and influence they're actually going to have in different areas of your life. And you absolutely want to make sure that you get on your team. All right, so with that all being said, today's message is all about, first of all, just stop falling in love with potential. All right, that's the theme of today's message. And I'm giving this advice to myself always, all right? And really a new learning that I've had today with a coach of mine is why swapping your idealism for realism will absolutely save you a great deal of heartache and time when you're selecting a partner. So I'm going to dive in, I'm going to unpack it all, and I want you guys to notice yourself or those close to you who may fall into this same trap when going and entering into a relationship. And for those of you who do know those people, please do share these kind of messages. Share this one with people that you feel would find it valuable, privately or publicly. I don't mind. It's a great gift that you guys can give to me to impact other people. And let's get into it. So this whole topic around falling in love with somebody's potential is so key. I've been speaking to people and working with couples and individuals on their relationships for going on to 7 years now. And time again, this is the common theme. We fall in love, and in that infatuation stage, right, we're falling, we're seeing all the goods, we're seeing no bad, we can't believe how lucky we are to have found this perfect individual and this person, and we see our potential with them, we see this person in the best light possible, and we see all their potential, and all of a sudden we've fallen in love and life couldn't be any better. And then time ticks on and we're in that relationship and then we start to see this other side of this other person, or stuff comes up from our side and we're like, didn't want that to come up, or whatever happens, right? And what happens is we've fallen in love not with the person, but with the potential. And of course, that's going to be how we start the game, right? Because we might have an attraction, and then always when you're first meeting someone and first connecting on that level, we tend to show our best, to each other. And that's all well and good and beautiful, but if we get caught up in that and then we see, okay, there's massive potential here, and that's why we choose to enter the relationship, we can run into major challenges. And I'm not here to say that those challenges aren't valuable. They most certainly are. Every challenge that you experience in relationship and in any area of your life is absolutely valuable to you. Always that opportunity for growth of understanding and deepening your relationship with yourself and with other people as well. So we're all for challenge here. But don't make life hard for yourself because you're too idealistic and you have no realism coming into the equation. Now, I'm speaking to you guys like I would like to speak to, my younger self at different times as well, and maybe even myself, this day and age as well, just to be cautious of this because if you're anything like me, you see the potential, you get super idealistic and you see all the greatness, you see the possibility, you see all this great stuff. But what I've done previously that has worked out in heartache and a hell of a lot of years, spent in relationships, which again, like I said, challenge, growth, all been valuable, regret nothing. But I've learnt a lot, and that's what I want to share with you, is that when you're too idealistic and you're set on potential, you're actually not giving that person the love that they deserve. You're holding them to a standard that you've set for them out there way down in the future. And when they don't meet up to your standard of potential, what happens? You fall out of love with them. And that's why I believe, when we fall in love, it's because we're seeing how our life can be better with this person. And when we fall out of love, it's when we're like, no, I'm not seeing that my future is going to be better with this person. So that's kind of, our ability to see potential in others actually makes us fall in and out of love with another person. But that's, not really the case, right? We're going to go through an up and down scenario in our relationship between love and hate, right? That's going to happen in our relationship. There's going to be times when you love that person to death. There's going to be times when you can't stand that person. And it's all there to serve you and your growth. But don't fall in love with potential. Realize that the potential may be there, but it's not a reason to fixate on another individual, and you're not actually loving the truth of who that person is, because in reality, using realism instead of idealism, that person, has all those great qualities. They also have some that are here to kind of trigger you, and it's all for your absolute benefit. When you get out of idealism and thinking everything's got to be perfect and this person's got to live up to a certain expectation, and maybe you even have to be perfect in relationship, which has been one of mine, and you actually get to realism and acceptance and acknowledgement of, both sides of the equation, not just being one-sided and reliant on something showing up in a particular way, but actually being real about the situation. And when I say realism, I'm not talking about being skeptical, all right? So if we look at the two sides of a polarity here, what we're talking about is we've got, idealism, like everything perfect and only the best, versus skepticism, like it's never going to work, it's total failure, I hate men, I hate women, whatever it is, right? And what we want to get to, instead of this like absolute idealism, can see no bad, only good, or can see only bad and no good, what we really want to get to is the balance point, the middle point, and that's always going to be about realism, right? It's about being realistic about the situation, and sometimes it takes those experiences where you were fully idealistic or you were fully skeptical to go into those situations and have different experiences. And over time, what happens is we have enough times of ourselves being the common denominator for all the patterns at play in our relationships to hopefully get to the point where we take responsibility for how idealistic we've been or how skeptical we've been, and we actually get to realism and we stop falling in love with potential and holding people to a standard that we're setting for them, and we start getting to know the real truth of an individual, giving them freedom of expression to be absolutely all of who they are, and that's gonna be both sides of the love and hate equation. All right, so hoping that this message is resonating with you guys and serving you and just gets you thinking, maybe if you're not in a relationship, being clear about what you want. What are your needs in relationship? What do you value in relationship? What's super important to you? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? You've got to have crystal clear clarity on that so that you can bring certainty and not be swayed in terms of another person. And of course, that infatuation stage where we just see all good and we're just totally idealistic, we've got to be cautious and we've got to understand ourselves and human psyche and how we operate, and we want to have that clarity and that direction in our relationships. And that's a beautiful filter for when you're meeting other extraordinary human beings in the world. And then if you're already in a relationship, I encourage you to just reflect to what are your expectations in your relationship, right? And as our great friend Tony Robbins would say, swap your expectations for appreciation. Instead of expecting somebody to be a certain way, start balancing that out, because when you have an expectation of somebody living to a potential that you've seen for them, you end up comparing them to this idealistic expectation that, in truth, could you live up to it? Just being a one-sided perfect individual? No, right? Like, nobody's just all one way and all good. And so you have to bring it back to realism. Get rid of the expectations, balance your expectations out with your appreciations for your partner, and go next level in the way of those things that most trigger you about them in that dynamic or, in your relationship. Actually see the other side. Like, get clear on what they are and see how they're actually here to serve you. What are those triggers pushing up against for you? And start to bring appreciation to the things that you absolutely believe to hate about your partner. I promise you, it is the most empowering journey, not only for your relationship, but for you as an individual, and it's next level taking responsibility. And at the end of the day, if you have selected a partner based on potential, and maybe you're a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is down the track, and you feel like nothing has changed, and you're not actually getting your needs met, the onus is actually not on them and them not changing. It's actually on you, because you're always at choice point with who you want to be in relationship with. And, it's up to you if you're going to not get clear on what you want and settle for something that is less than fulfilling to you on the individual level. And a really key point here is, if you've got a list, if you've got expectations of what or standards that you want in relationship, the first step isn't finding somebody to fulfill that for you in your external world. The first step is being those things for yourself first and foremost. I spoke to a beautiful woman this morning who shared with me some different things in terms of her relationship and being kind of on the fence. And, she was somebody who's been really wanting commitment from her partner. And, she was sharing what was going on in her life. And there were a couple of circumstances where she was totally not being committed to her relationship, yet expecting her partner to give her that full 100% commitment. All right. And so we're oftentimes blind to this stuff. We're beautiful human beings who want this great stuff, but we're actually not doing the very things that we really seek, and we're expecting somebody else to do that, yet we're not actually doing that for the relationship either. So, there's all these bits and pieces that come into play, but you've got to have clarity and get out of idealism, start getting real. And part of that realism is not falling in love with potential, and also, not holding other people to a standard that you're not holding for yourself. All right. Both of those pathways are, built on heartache, and they're very disempowered because the onus is sitting outside of yourself rather than you taking responsibility for what you're looking to create and the kind of relationship that you're in right now, not just focused on the future potential. All right. So I could go all day, as you guys know, but I definitely want to check in with you guys. So let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. Please do share this message if you have found it valuable, and drop me a comment. Let me know where in the world you... Oh, yeah, I already said that. And let me know if you've got any words of wisdom or comments or questions, any of it, hit me up. But let me check in with you guys. I have got Jared in the house, and Judy, and AG, hello to you, and Adrian, and Jed, and Raya, hello, beautiful. And Daryl, hey there, superstar, the man from the Great White North. Always love having you here, Daryl. And Jared, thank you very much. Always appreciated. You're always appreciated too, my friend. Grateful this message has supported you, and much love to you, Justin. Great to see you back. So that is my message for you. Bit of a wake-up call. And Ty here is saying understanding each other is always great. It's absolutely key. I couldn't have put it any better. Absolutely, Ty, because, and that's the most fulfilling part of the work that I do is actually helping people to understand themselves and then understand each other, particularly around men and women understanding each other, right? Because we are, all equal, but we're wired differently. We have different needs. There's different hierarchies around what our needs are, what our values are, and we need to understand that so that we can get out of expecting somebody to be just like us, which you really wouldn't want anyway because you wouldn't have any attraction, and actually start to appreciate our differences and actually encourage and honor those differences with one another, which is vastly different to the majority of the population in relationships and what they're doing. And it's not because they don't have the best interests in mind. It's just because they just don't get these key little pieces of understanding that I love sharing so much. So absolutely, Ty, you're so welcome. And Jerry's here as well. Good to see you, my friend. And Josie has just joined us as well. So I hope that you guys who are just joining now catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message. And this serves you as a bit of a wake-up call to stop falling in love with potential. All right. And know that when you swap your idealism, right, seeing only the best, for realism and balancing that out, right, you will actually save yourself a tremendous deal of heartache and time when you're selecting a partner. And also, if you're in relationship, you've already made the selection, it's going to really save you in terms of where you're going next, because when you live with the idealism, somebody can't live to those expectations and you lose all of your appreciation to the point where you fall out of love with somebody, and that individual could be an incredible partner for you. Maybe they're not, maybe they are, but you've got to do, what you can do as an individual to ensure that you're giving your relationships the absolute best chance possible, and you're not settling for anything less than what you're clearly inspired to experience and create in those dynamics. All right. Yes. Awesome, Jerry. You'll get the recording. I hope it's a ton of value for you. And as always, guys, I'm sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I really do hope that it's beautiful, amazing, and extraordinary, that you're doing something super empowering, and today's message has definitely served you. Thanks so much to all of you who could join me live today. You're so appreciated. Hope this has served you. Please do share it if it has been of value. I'm signing off. I'm sending you guys all of my love, and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow.